We're live, everybody, with the No DQ review, episode number 112. Let me throw it over to the moderator for tonight. He's not moderating the presidential debates. He's moderating the No DQ review, which I'm sure will be less of a train wreck than the presidential debate, but we shall see. Virtue, how's it going?
Well, Rift, you may be the tribal chief here on NoDQ, but I'm the head of the table. I just want to make that perfectly clear. But welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, to the review number 112, 112. Yes, we are already there, almost not quite 200. But I am Virtue, being joined by the elite panel of NoDQ, and this week it consists of myself, Aaron Rift, Big G, and back again, Robbie Vice. What's up, Robbie Vice? The Indians hats we got on, they're facing the Yankees tonight.
They are. And I think you're a lot more hopeful than I am about that. It was an interesting weekend. I got to see one of the best wrestling matches story-wise that I have seen. God, I don't know how long it's been. It's been a long time since I got the same feelings I got Sunday. But luckily, WWE was there to even me out, because I watched all of Raw Monday, if you saw my live tweeting of my question marks and rants. But so it's been an interesting weekend, to say the least. I got a lot of notes here. I know we have a lot to cover today, but let's get into a good conversation, because we have some really, really awesome things to talk about and some much less awesome things to talk about.
That's a good point. So, people, what are we going to talk about that Robbie doesn't like? Stay tuned. Big G, what's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a good weekend myself, too. I won a good chunk of money in a cornhole tournament this past Saturday.
Ooh, nice.
What else happened? Yeah, Clash of Champions was good. We'll talk more about that.
Steelers won, right?
Yes, we did. I don't know how this Sunday is going to go with Tennessee. Apparently, 8 members of the Titans have COVID. 3 players and I think 5 whoever else, the officials or whatever.
A lot of wrestlers have COVID too. So
yeah,
it's happening. I mean, it's
Aaron,
happening.
is there any way they could protect themselves from COVID?
Yes, make sure you wear a mask. Go over to nodq.com/merch and buy a mask.
Well, Big G, we look forward to your input on these topics today. Aaron Rift, what's going on?
I'm just ready to talk about some wrestling, and hopefully we can get people engaged so they're thinking about wrestling and not thinking about politics or sports. The chat room so far, everybody's just talking about sports and politics. This is wrestling. We got to get into the wrestling discussion and get people excited about wrestling. We got to do a better job than the people running the brands. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right, let's get this topic out of the way, because this always sucks when we hear bad news, but recently, Animal, Joe Lauraintis, passed away, and it was kind of shocking. I was talking to Big Vito, and he was friends with him, and he didn't really disclose too many details, but he might have been having some health issues that the public didn't know about. But man, the Road Warriors are now both up there, and I'll tell you what, that's one of the best rosters in wrestling, is where I'm pointing. So what's everybody's thought here? I always remember these guys from WWF because that's what I watched. I know they were way before that as the Road Warriors, but I'm more in the Legion of Doom bubble. But of course, WWE had to do their version with Demolition. So, Robbie Vice, thoughts here? This sucks. It sucks. 60's very early.
Very early. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you could say about this. The guy was an absolute legend. When I think of the earliest memories I have of watching wrestling, I picture the Legion of Doom up on the ropes with the shoulder pads and the spikes and the iconic music. It's just way too soon, man. And that's really all I can say about it. Great legend, absolutely iconic, and gone way too soon.
Thank you for that. Big G, were you a big Road Warriors, a Legion of Doom fan? I mean, I know it's kind of before your time, but
I was.
But he has the WWE Network.
Yep. So, I mean, I was young when the Road Warriors were at their peak and whatnot. And, I mean, I've gone on the network, watched some of their great matches, the one from SummerSlam. 60 is a young age, this day and age. But I believe he passed away the day after his wife's birthday, if I'm not mistaken. So that's got to be kind of heartbreaking. But, I mean, if he had health issues, I mean, at least he's in peace. He's up there with Hawk right now. And not much else to say. Aaron?
You guys said pretty much all there is to say. Animal was quite the intense superstar, as was Hawk. The two of them, they were rock stars.
Yeah.
When they came out, everybody stood
Yeah.
up. The Road Warrior pop, as they call it. They would stand out. If they were in a big room, people would notice them. They aren't just some random jabroni. They looked the part. They were truly larger than life. And I wish we had more teams like LOD and more superstars like them in today's WWE. Guys that really felt like something special. And we just don't have that anymore. People that grew up on LOD, they know what I'm talking about with the intensity, and when they came out with the shoulder pads and everything, like it got you pumped up, and you were ready to see some carnage and see somebody get taken out with the Doomsday Device. Awesome finisher too, one of the most iconic tag team finishers of all time. He would definitely be missed. LOD got to be up there, top 10 greatest tag teams of all time.
I mean, they were so impactful. They basically, Vince McMahon wanted to create his version of them in a way, and Demolition was born. I mean, think about that. And then of course eventually he got his, they went over there as the Legion of Doom. But rest in peace. That's all we can say. Let's do.
I have one question.
Yeah.
They were notoriously rough with some of the enhancement talent. How would Legion of Doom at their peak reacted to guys like Orange Cassidy, Marco Stunt? Do you think they would have sold it all for him, or do you think they just would have thrown him into a wall?
Nope. They wouldn't.
Thrown him into
unless
a
they
wall.
were paid a lot of money. But I wouldn't think they
like
still
the thing
would
is,
protect their
LOD would not have been LOD if they sold for guys like Orange Cassidy. I mean, that's the thing.
And that's such an important lesson to get across.
Yes, and that's what I was talking about with Miro last week on AEW. Why is this guy selling for Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela? And by the way, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, first one of the evening. He says, why doesn't WWE have top tag teams like LOD today? Because
Vince doesn't care about tag team wrestling.
Everybody's got to be in 50-50 booking. Nobody gets pushed like they're above everybody else. Like nobody gets that main event push to that level that LOD got. LOD, they were always dominant. They never really sold for anybody. They just came out there and kicked ass. And you saw what happened when Goldberg was pushed in similar fashion. He was an ass kicker. He came out, beat people up, and the fans ate it up. Goldberg, LOD, they could go out there, 2-minute match, beat people up, and the fans, the paying customers, were left happy.
And think about it. Goldberg wasn't even talented like the Road Warriors were, and he still got over because of that philosophy.
Yeah.
So it's missed. All right, let's talk our, final Clash of Champions thoughts. Well, first of all, very clever ladder match. Probably one of the most clever I've ever seen, the way that they did this. Sami Zayn won. I remember saying on the predictions, I picked AJ, but I said, hey, if Sami won, I'd be ecstatic because I like that character. And boy, he was the mastermind of all the cleverness here. And I loved it. So that was a great match. And of course, the Roman versus Jey Uso match. Jimmy came out, threw out the towel, ended the match. But just the way they did everything, you could hear Roman. I mean, this is how you tell a story. So I want everybody's thoughts. The rest of the pay-per-view really wasn't that memorable to me. I know there were a couple of women's title matches thrown in the middle of the card, but I'm telling you, these two matches were great, and it basically a lot of people gave the show an A and a B because of these matches. Big G, what do you think here? Keep in mind, we will talk about Roman more in depth later on in the show, but you can talk about this match. Yep. Great match, and it should be a 5-star match.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 matches that I did enjoy throughout this entire pay-per-view. I'm glad we only paid $9.99 a month for these kind of things. The first you mentioned was the ladder match. I enjoyed it. Very creative. I was talking to Jeff yesterday on his show. And I just can't imagine how much pain Jeff Hardy had to go through to have his ear handcuffed to a ladder. That was crazy.
Well, considering everything he puts his body through, that probably is nothing.
I know. Probably nothing.
You know what I mean?
And I'm happy Sami Zayn won too. He's been He deserves it. Anyways, the second one is the ambulance match.
That was
I
a good one.
enjoyed it. For what it was, you had
A little
McIntyre.
overproduced, but that's okay.
Yeah. I was not expecting any of the HBK and Ric Flair and all. I wasn't expecting anybody to show up, but I enjoyed that. And lastly, I loved the Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. I was on the edge of my seat the entire match. I really couldn't look away, because if I missed something, I'd be like, what the heck happened? Roman did a tremendous job. Jey did a tremendous job. I can't remember if on the predictions if somebody mentioned Jimmy coming out and throwing the towel in.
I think I mentioned it's a possibility that he's going to do something.
So, and that added to the story as well. So I want to see if they're going to continue on with this story, or if this was a one-off kind of match. We knew it was a filler, but I kind of want to see it continue on just a little bit more. So that's all I got to say. There's just 3 matches. Aaron?
Colin Andrews sent in a $4 super chat. Thank you, Colin. We very much appreciate it. He says, for someone who has, I think it's pronounced gauged ears or gauged ears, I'm not sure. Sammy made me cringe. Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah. And that screwdriver from Randy Orton last year, when I watched that, I was like, ooh. I mean, I love it. It's great stuff. Anyways, Virtue, go ahead.
All right, Robbie, I'm going to go to you. I think you and I talked about this on Twitter. You know what stood out? At the end of this match, just Roman's presence, standing there. Somebody did a screenshot of Rocky holding Apollo Creed, and then and then doing the Ivan Drago later looking down, and they did the same screenshots from this match, and I was like, holy crap. And the lay or whatever that is.
That red
Heyman put that over. Dude, the tribal chief. I mean, that was good stuff. What do you think about Clash?
So I have a couple of notes from Clash. Not a lot, because it was definitely a top-heavy card in my opinion. My one note says, is Cesaro the best random tag team teammate of all time? Because every tag team he gets thrown into, it's good, and I want to watch it. And not a lot of people get that. Sami Zayn ladder match was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I don't like the Street Profits. I don't get it. I feel like they try too hard to portray their characters instead of just letting it do it in the ring. Some of the stuff's just a little too over the top for my taste. It's into that Ultimate Warrior territory, which I know a lot of people really like. I think I don't know. I don't like it. And Roman was the show. That Roman Reigns match, man, it just did a lot. The red flowers, he literally looked like a tribal god, just standing over him. He looked like an end boss, I have written down there. And the crazy thing about this now is this character that he's unleashing is basically what him and Dusty Rhodes came up with in NXT. And you can Google and look, there's a promo he cut.
I love that point, and save that for later.
Sure. But he does a promo, and you look it up. It's one of Roman Reigns' first NXT promos. He calls himself the boss. But instead of a boss, give him 10 years of experience and the tribal chief thing. But he was in a suit. He was a heel. He was confident, arrogant, and he had the same exact persona. So the fact that Roman is finally using that Dusty Rhodes inspired promo mixed in with all the tribal stuff that he's probably pulled in from his family, man. I mean, this whole thing is just absolute money. So overall, I thought the show was great, but man, that last 5-6 minutes of that pay-per-view, I got goosebumps. I had my headphones on. I'm watching it in my living room on my laptop while my girl's watching TV. But it's just I'm so entranced in this match, and I can't wait till Friday. Not at all.
Can't wait till fans can go back and be in the building, react to Reigns. Now we've talked about they could cheer him and he's a heel, because of the way fans are. But I mean the noise level is what I'd be interested in. Aaron Rift. I know you already talked about this, but you want to add anything?
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you. He says, I agree with Robbie. Street Profits are overrated. I'm with Robbie on that, too. I've never been huge on the Street Profits as far as their comedy goes. I do like Montez Ford as a worker. I think he's pretty solid. But, yeah, whenever they start doing the comedy, I just cringe. Anyways, there was a comment in the chat room about how Roman Reigns and Jey Uso was not a 5-star match. To me, it was a better match than that parking lot brawl on AEW Dynamite. That was an awesome match. Don't get me wrong.
It was better than anything Okada and Omega because all they did were moves and a bunch of no selling.
This was storytelling and it's fine.
To me, this is real art because you could tell a story by not killing yourself, not doing these high impact moves and stunts that could seriously hurt somebody. I mean, it's very entertaining when we see these ladder matches, and I enjoy the ladder matches as much as anybody, but I like when these guys can go out there and just tell a match through facial expressions and verbiage, which is something we've gotten more of since the pandemic started. I like being able to hear them talk as they fight each other. It's something different. That's one thing that's been different and been a positive about wrestling during the pandemic. And maybe once there are fans again, WWE can mic up the ring more so we can have these kind of matches. But it's really a nice change of pace. And I love what's going on with the Roman Reigns character. And to me, this is money. If there were fans able to buy tickets, I think ticket sales would go up. Hell, I would buy a ticket to see Roman Reigns with this new character. I'm intrigued by it. If SmackDown was coming to Detroit and Roman Reigns was going to be on the card or cut a promo with Paul Heyman, I think I would buy a ticket. I would be invested in it. So to me, it's money, and you got to look at the big picture, long term. I think the match was great for building up Roman's character and what we're going to get in the future. From a historical standpoint, I think people are going to remember this match for many years to come.
And it's just the beginning, Aaron, for this whole angle with Roman.
And we got that match for $10. People always say, why am I hard on AEW pricing? I paid $10 and saw the best wrestling moment I've seen story-wise in 10 years. Or I could pay $50 and see guys do flips and jumps and might get like one or two cool Jericho or former WWE guy matches.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As great as that parking lot fight was on AEW, are we going to remember it a year from now? How is that match changing the wrestling business? How is it building?
The only
AEW
way
as a
people are
brand?
going to remember it is the only way people will remember that is because Meltzer's going to say it was a 5-star match.
There's got to be more criteria than just the guys went out there and busted their asses. That, I think most matches would be 5 stars if we're just saying, hey, these guys busted their asses and they had a really good performance. But there's more to it than that. There's so many different ways to look at it. And I think historical impact is very important and how it develops a character long term. I think Roman Reigns is on to bigger things, and this is going to be a hot period for Reigns as a character coming up here. And
we will come back to that in the main event. We're going to be talking specifically about how Roman can impact WrestleMania.
Or just wrestling in period, man. I think it's changing everything.
Anything else, Aaron? We're going to move on.
I say we move on here. The sooner we talk about Reigns, the better, right?
Yes. All right, here we go. Orton versus McIntyre. It's been a couple, month feud. McIntyre's beat him, right? We saw how everything happened at the Clash. Orton walked away on Raw, and then guess what? No, he didn't. Aaron, you were talking about this. This isn't over yet. We're going to probably get a Hell in a Cell, a match at Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, right? Another match. Yeah. So I want to know, how does this end? The summer of Orton, I obviously keep saying this. I thought he's been the best wrestler in the pandemic. Now Roman's back and has me intrigued. But he's putting people over. I mean, I think he went over Edge in the greatest wrestling match, but Orton's been really putting people over, so he's not winning.
Yeah.
He goes against McIntyre again and loses a third time. So Aaron might have some validity to Orton comes out of this as champion to set up the thing with Edge later. So Big G, what do you think here with this continuation of this feud? What's the end game?
Well, I think we are going to get a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell. I think the end game is, I think Orton is going back to SmackDown during the draft. I think Orton's going to SmackDown. We're going to get possibly somebody from SmackDown to feud with Drew McIntyre for the fall season. And then once Royal Rumble hits, it's open season. But yeah, that's what I think.
So you're saying that Orton will lose a third match in this feud and get swept?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Which, the veteran, how many years he has in, if they really want to do that to really try to get McIntyre.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. If they really wanted him to be WWE champion again for the 14th time, they would have had him win that ambulance match at Clash of Champions.
Interesting. So you think it's going to continue, but only to get Drew over one more time? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Robbie Vice, what do you think on this?
God, I don't care at all about this feud anymore. This is one of them. When we wanted to know one of the two things I didn't really care about. No, it's not. Okay, there's three things.
Oh, geez.
Okay. I don't care about this match. I don't care about this feud. I'm ready for a new champion. I thought Drew did great. I think he's been good, but it only works when someone's chasing, and when a face is champion too long, it gets stagnant. And I feel like we're entering that, regardless of how good this guy is, because dude, this guy has been an immaculate performer. I'm sick of it. Night Vision. I mean, this
you're saying Drew is an immaculate performer, not Orton?
No, I think that's a given.
Okay.
I think it's a given that Orton's one of my favorites of all times. I think he's methodical. I think he's one of the best in the ring to ever lace up boots. But just that McIntyre hasn't proven himself as much. So yeah, while Orton does deserve that respect, absolutely. But I don't know, man. I think it's getting weird with the Night Vision attack. I mean, it was pretty campy. That was funny. How many rematches are they going to do? And what's the end game here? Is it? Yeah. I have a feeling like Edge is going to come back and turn heel, and they're going to have their heel rated RKO again, and they're just going to do something that doesn't really make sense. Like, and what else can they even do? They're going to have a Hell in a Cell. Okay, they've had an ambulance match. They punted each other like 35 times. I feel like they've just pushed this way too far, and like a Hell in a Cell at this point, it's just like, okay. And that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Aaron Rift, over to you, and anything from the NoDQ Galaxy.
Well, Dr. NXT Scorpio thinks T-Bar will cost the match through a DQ, and that'll keep the feud going. Yeah, we could see Retribution show up in Hell in the Cell. Would not shock me. Yeah, I think Orton's going to win the title. I think he's going to beat McIntyre, and we're going to get Edge versus Randy Orton, maybe at WrestleMania. Orton might hold the title until WrestleMania. I sense that's what's going to happen. I said this before, I'd rather see Edge versus somebody else, but my feeling is we're going to see one more Edge versus Randy Orton match, but this time it's going to be for the World Championship. I could see Drew McIntyre going to SmackDown and maybe feuding with Reigns for a while. I don't think Drew's going to get the WrestleMania spot against Roman, but I could see Drew and the big dog go at it, maybe Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. And where Drew goes from there, who knows? But yeah, if I had to make a prediction, and we'll do our predictions video in a couple weeks, but right now I would say Randy Orton gets the title.
And we'll see. I mean, it's WWE. They love to extend things, and that's what they're doing. All right, this topic here. How do you guys really feel about Retribution? I know we briefly talked about them here and there since they've been there. They came in, they were tearing things up at the Performance Center on both shows. Then, all of a sudden it got to, they were only doing stuff on Raw. As soon as Roman was back, they didn't want Retribution anywhere near a ring where Roman could be by. And now they have contracts. Like, what kind of sense does this not make? Well, we gave them contracts so they wouldn't be disgruntled. Like, this is just like, who came up with this? And again, I'm not knocking these talents, right? They're the COVID Retribution right now. But like, this is not how I envisioned Dijak being used, like this Bane character that's not even as cool as Bane from Batman. So Robbie Weiss, I'm going to start with you. Like, it sucks. And nothing against the performers. They're doing what they're told to do. This is some of the worst faction storyline creative I have ever seen, if not the worst. It's worse than Dark Order to me.
Oh, it's up there with League of Nations as just bad ideas that should have ended long before. I feel that Retribution is very out of place on the roster. I feel like aesthetically they don't really fit in. They look like something out of maybe like 1996 before the Attitude Era, or maybe at the start of it. They have their 80s names, which I guess is a thing. It doesn't make sense though, because we know these characters as Mia and Dijakovic, and I just don't understand why we're gonna like they could have had, like with Dio Madden, they could have had a good storyline with that of why he left. I got taken off TV and I'm pissed, but now he's He looks like Cyrax from Mortal Kombat, so I don't know. They're a group that's so against the establishment that they signed a contract with said establishment and are going to
what
obey all their
establishment
rules.
does that? Like, you get a restraining order and get them arrested.
Well, apparently, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's just I feel bad for the performers and T-Bar, bless his heart, dude. That guy is really trying on Twitter to do stuff. Well, the fake T-Bar. It's just I don't know, man. I feel bad and I cringe every time they come on TV, and I don't know what to expect from them next. I just know it's not going to be fun.
And I wanted to give them a chance early on, but I mean, the first time we saw them, like that first split second, I'm like, why are the ninjas like blowing up stuff?
Yeah, really.
The ninja stuff there. And so that wasn't a good look. Big G, what's your take here? I mean, yeah, just agree with me and move on. But like, can you add anything to this? Do you like anything about them?
Well, at first I tried to give him a chance, but it's just been weeks and weeks of just like, what in the hell am I watching? If these people could be very creative with this Jay and Roman match from Clash of Champions, why can't they be this creative with Retribution? Stop doing this week-to-week stuff to see what they're gonna do next or whatever. Have a game plan for them. Have an end game for them. You know, and now we didn't see him yesterday because of potential COVID or whatever. So now we won't see him for another 2 weeks. If that,
like that's bad. Like, what kind of retribution is that? You do less and less as you move on.
Yeah,
now they're doing
like,
less and less.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, now we gotta wait 2 more weeks to see what's gonna happen. I figured they would show up at Clash of Champions. They haven't shown up in any pay-per-view since they've shown up.
They've stayed away from Roman. That's why.
When they threw Molotov cocktails at the building.
At this point, I could give 2 shits about Retribution. That's
All
how
right.
I feel.
All right, Aaron Riff, what do you want to add to this, man?
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, Retribution will be broken up by next year. Hell, they might be broken up in 2 weeks.
They're only there for Survivor Series.
Yeah, that very well could be the case. I was almost thinking maybe WWE smartened up and this 2-week quarantine thing would be a way to just quietly drop the group. But nope, on Raw we got the video package and their lights flickering and logo popping up appeared during one of the matches. So it's going on for now. But maybe the 2 weeks will give somebody a good idea to turn this thing around. But I think the shark has already been jumped, or whatever the term is, jumped the shark. I don't know. But it never even
harpooned.
It never even had a high point. Like, this Retribution thing was pretty awful from the beginning. But hey, I was trying to give it a chance. People on Twitter always say you're so quick to criticize everything and you should let things play out. I did, and it sucked. And I'm not sure there's anything you can do to save it now. You gotta do something drastic.
What's anybody saying in the chat about Retribution? Anything, or the same old?
Mo Cameron's just talking about Roman Reigns, so he really doesn't care about Retribution.
We're getting there.
Psycho Jet Black says the 24/7 title will outlast Retribution, but Big G?
Probably. Now, I was going to say, at this point, they're too far down the hole to make any kind of comeback, to make any kind of impact. I mean, the 2 weeks, I mean, yeah, they could come up with a great idea, but people, I don't know. It's got to be something
like where this whole thing,
past the middle. Yeah.
It's got to be revealed where this whole thing was a smokescreen to confuse everybody, and it's revealed that yes, it's Dijakovic and everybody, but somebody put them up to this to screw around with WWE, and there's somebody else that we're not seeing that's pulling the strings.
Yeah, somebody we care about. Somebody we care about that can make us care about these new people.
Yeah, but they turned Dijakovic into Connor from the Ascension. And I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, like the names are so terrible. It's got to be like if WWE could somehow write this to where it's revealed that, yeah, somebody purposely gave them these names and did all this goofy stuff on purpose to screw around with everybody and make them wondering what the hell is going on, they could possibly salvage it. But
I wonder what or somebody was smoking when they came up with this idea.
I don't know.
Crack.
Probably not very good stuff. Because
Meth.
It was an
Crack.
80-year-old man trying to think of things that teenagers find funny.
Well, all right.
1980s. Yeah.
So with the creative on this, they're double downing on just piss poor creative. Like the Mysterio family. That's the next topic here. Like I hate when they do this. I get the Dominic thing. They want to try to work him. Now, of course, he gets to skip NXT, right? Because he's Ray's son and he was in the storyline with Seth Rollins. But like the wife is out there, and now Aaliyah, I think that's her name, the daughter, and getting in the storyline with Buddy Murphy, and she's like 19 years old. Like this is complete soap opera. So I get it, right? Because WWE likes, but like, why put the family out there? Man, Robbie, I know you have some things to say about this. I like Rey Mysterio and all, and it's great for him. And if they're all getting paid to be on TV, he's getting a little bit extra. But come on, this is awful. Like, I even feel bad for Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy for having to be part of this. What do you think?
This is by far one of the worst things I've seen on TV. As the Roman Jimmy thing or whatever was the best thing I've seen in the last decade. This is up there with the worst. These are some of the notes that I have written as I watch the match in real time. Bad, really bad. Is this the 1900s? Dominic is not very good at wrestling. Dominic's ring gear is stupid. This is very bad acting. Again with the effing kendo stick. Why?
Yeah.
So those are basically my notes for that entire segment. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't even want to give it any more time than that. It was stupid. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And whoever else wants to talk next can.
Now, Aaron, I have a question for you. What did Raw rating do this Monday?
it actually did better than last week, and I was thinking,
What was it? 1 point what?
it was like 1.8 something million.
Okay, and it was
Like 1.882.
It has been 1.7, and of course SmackDown dipped, the last couple weeks, but it's still around 2 million, slightly above.
Yeah.
There's 300,000 more people watching SmackDown than Raw.
Right.
Okay, that's my point to Roman. But because Raw storylines suck, and it's not pulling anybody in. Aaron, what do you think here on this?
Well, real quick, Fox is a network compared to USA, which is cable, but yeah, SmackDown has more viewers,
But I
and
mean, Raw was doing a lot better than the difference it has now.
yeah, and SmackDown's numbers have shown a bit of an increase. I'm not sure why Raw's was up so much. Maybe because it was the night after a pay-per-view. The storyline with Dominic, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I get it, why it's being done, to draw in people that like the soap operas, but yeah, I think the acting could be better. Dominic's doing fine. I just want to see Dominic in the ring with some other people. I get it. Him and Murphy work well together, but Murphy can get a good match out of just about anybody. And there's plenty of talented people in WWE that I think could get a good match of Dominic. Let's see something different. Let's change it up and stop doing the same match over and over again. That's my opinion.
Are they the
on
only
it.
opponents Dominic's had?
Yes.
Pretty much. I think he's had like 6 matches now, and they've all been either against Rollins or Murphy, or Rollins and Murphy in a tag match. It's
Love
ridiculous.
stretching things out there.
And
We
all of them
talked
had
about
kendo sticks.
Yep.
it.
Yeah,
we
I'm
talked
not sure. I guess that's his weapon of choice.
They
just
have like 6 things. They put it in a Yahtzee cup and pour it out. And they're like, oh, I guess we're doing this again.
But I mean, I still expect better for Monday Night Raw. Yes, Aaron, SmackDown is on Fox, but it's Friday nights. I mean, come on, that's Friday night. But Monday night's the wrestling night, and it doesn't feel that anymore. Of course, AEW and NXT fans, it's Wednesday nights now, but just Raw, it's strange. And maybe they think, right, Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, maybe they think this is good shit, pal. I mean, and that's why they're just going to keep doing more and more of this. I don't know. Big G, you want to add to this? I'm going to put you last. I mean,
Well, this is how
hope you
I
got
feel
some
about it.
insight here.
This is how I feel about it. I fell asleep through that segment last
Wow.
night. That's how bad I think this stuff is. I mean, at first I was like, okay, I like it, but like you guys said, it's like Robbie said, repetitive, kendo sticks. Now this whole thing with Aaliyah and Buddy Murphy, I'm just like, okay, yeah, we can have some storylines, but make him good. That's why I've been more intrigued and more interested in SmackDown in the past, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months than I have in Raw in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. As Zumasa We Trust points out, like one of the things that really bugged me about Raw, and it's been a problem with WWE this year in general, it's the same guys having matches with each other. It's been Truth versus Tozawa for like the past 3 or 4 months. Street Profits versus Team Vega. Rollins versus the Mysterios, and Cruz versus the Hurt Business. It's fine to have feuds play out over a couple of months, but what you do is you have one match and then you take a break for a while, have the guys face off against other people, and then set up another match on a pay-per-view. Instead, what WWE does is every week it's some combination of the same people facing each other, whether it's Apollo versus MVP or Apollo versus Shelton Benjamin or Apollo and Ricochet versus Lashley and MVP. It's just the same combination of the people that are in a feud wrestling every single week. Rematch after rematch after rematch. And it's so difficult to watch live. I can't stand it anymore. Like,
well, there's no payoff either.
And what's
they just go to the next feud that lasts 3 months.
I like
what's
Rob's
up with
analogy.
SmackDown is Roman came back, Sami Zayn came back. They were out during the pandemic, so SmackDown seems like they have fresh faces back. Raw, not so much. I mean, you can maybe find a couple people. They moved Mandy Rose over there. I think Mandy Rose should get pushed as a title contender just because she's got the look, And
Didn't
why
they just
not?
team her up with like the Forever Catering girl?
Yeah.
Yes.
But she did go over. They did go over though. But obviously,
I think Dana Brooke. By the way, I think Dana Brooke's good. I think she gets a lot of crap, but she is Forever Catering, sadly.
I wonder if they do the same thing with these matches, like Rob said earlier with the Yahtzee. If they just like roll it and like, all right, we're gonna have this match this week with these two people, and then and then next week, it's
because it's easy and it's convenient for them. And then when you write TV like an hour before the show, this is what you get. You get
for an audience of one.
okay, let's just do this match again. Yeah. They have a dry erase board back
I
there.
wonder if these people. I wonder if the wrestlers on Raw, if they get bored of doing the same matches over and over.
Yeah, of course they do.
They're getting paid. They get bored.
I mean, I know they're getting paid.
They've always done this. This is the same model they used in the territories. Guys would have programs. They would travel around the country. It's just now it's on TV. So when they travel around the country, we all see the same crap every single week.
Yeah. And they did that, Rob, so they could master their match so it could pay off better at the paper.
That was bigger cities. Right,
Back in the day,
All right, well, we'll move on. And I do have a little throw and buffer topic here before our main event that I didn't even tell any of you about, but it just dawned on me. Cody returned after several weeks off, and he dyed his hair black, and he's ready to kick ass again. So we got to get our AEW shots in there. I like Cody, so more power to him. He's going to come back after Brody Lee and try to get his title back, and I think he will, because one day, I think Vince Russo said this, there will be a Cody Rhodes statue in front of Daly's place. So, Big G, thoughts on Cody is now back after a few weeks off, and are any other thoughts about AEW? Because we have some people that like AEW.
I mean, I like AEW, don't get me wrong. I'm glad Cody's back. I think, him dyeing his hair, maybe he's going to have more of an edge to him. Not like Roman Reigns kind of edge, but, I don't know. Some kind of edge.
I thought for sure when they were playing that dark music before he came out, he's going to come out like Cody Dust. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Just imagine that. AEW's been great the past, or not, I don't want to say great, but it's been good the past couple weeks. I mean, I've enjoyed it. Not else much to say about that. I'm glad Cody's back, though. That's for sure.
Robbie Vice, any thoughts on Cody Rhodes? And hey, he's feuding with the Dark Order, your favorite, Brody Lee.
Dark Order is so dumb. I don't know.
You said it before. It's not. You'd rather have Dark Order than Retribution.
Dark Order is better than Retribution.
Okay.
It just it hurts to say it. Actually, I think it's kind of interesting that Cody went with the hair choice because it seems very Jericho-esque to come back with an alternate appearance and different thing. And I think that's some veteran advice that he probably picked up along the way from his dad too. But it just reminds me of something Jericho would do. I don't know. I think it's neat. I was just getting used to his blonde hair. So just when he stopped looking weird to me, he could start looking weird to me again. But AEW it's fine. I think Cody, I think Aaron's right. I think there's going to be a statue of Cody Rhodes outside of Daly's place. And That's it.
He still has a tattoo. Aaron, you want to add anything?
Yeah, he has a stupid tattoo.
Anything from the NoDQ Galaxy?
Not much. People actually are not really commenting about Cody in the chat room. Inzumasa We Trust says Cody needs to bring back the brown paper bags. That was his best gimmick.
And put it over his face.
And Nathan Baggs said, glad that Cody is back and has black hair. Hated the blonde hair. No offense, Aaron. I liked the blonde hair. I know it's like similar to Dustin's old look and Dusty's look. I was fine with the blonde hair. It almost seems weird now for him to have the black hair, even though he had the black hair for most of his career. I think that it'll be a good match with Brody Lee. I'm looking forward to the rematch. And see, AEW did not just have Cody come back a week later and fight Brody Lee again. They kept Cody off a good 5 weeks. Even Sasha, after getting injured by Bayley, could not be gone more than 2 weeks. Cody took a good 5 weeks off, and they're going to slowly build to the rematch. They're not going to give it away on Dynamite. They're not going to wrestle 100 million times. The next match between them will probably be at the Full Gear pay-per-view, which is the right business decision. Save it for the pay-per-view, and it's spread out. Yeah, go ahead.
They're not going to be in 6-man tags and have a contract signing? And
they might have a contract signing, but yeah, I think they'll keep them away from each other as far as in the ring having matches, and that's the way it should be. Spread it out over time.
That's what made the Austin HBK thing so cool. You know, I wanted to see Stone Cold Steve Austin beat the crap out of Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. If I saw it every week on Raw, it probably would have been a lot less special.
Right,
and it might not have made a star.
They very rarely had any kind of physical interaction between them. Maybe
they'd get close, they'd get pulled apart. They wouldn't actually get that confrontation, though.
Yeah, or Shawn would just hit him with one super kick from behind, and that would be it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, ready? Let's go. Main event time. Clip this, Big G.
Boom.
So we all know what happened at Clash of Champions and Roman Reigns, right? Yeah. And of course, you know, Mr. Tito, part of NoDQ.com, wrote a little article about Paul Heyman and really just does not want to give Roman Reigns any credit. It's all Paul Heyman. Look, I'm not denying that Paul Heyman is not giving Roman Reigns some advice, right? Working with him on television. But Robbie Weiss is going to point out something very, very apropos for this regarding Roman's history and his family. He already mentioned that Dusty Rhodes worked with Roman Reigns in NXT. Roman has a huge family network of being in the business and getting experience. I guarantee you he's got The Rock on speed dial, and they talk often. Whether we get the WrestleMania match or not, it will be discussed. They will discuss it. They're family. And I'll tell you what, The Rock went through this. He couldn't get over as a babyface. The fans weren't having it back in the day. They made him heel. The whole Nation of Domination stuff. What happened? Rocky shined. Rocky became so charismatic and cool. He had huge babyface runs after that. This is a mirror image of that potentially here. You don't think The Rock, related to him, would not want to work with Roman at WrestleMania? I'm telling you this. The tribal chief, that was planted for a reason. Head of the table, Aaron, you mentioned it, I think, on your live chat. That's perfect storyline for a WrestleMania match where The Rock can say, whoa, like he does. So what's everybody's take on this? I'm not saying Paul Heyman doesn't have influence on Roman. Roman has a whole family. The Rock, things he picked up along the way with Dusty Rhodes is why he's doing this. He's always been talented, people. But the people that bury Roman Reigns, it's because WWE had handcuffs on him and Vince McMahon wanted him to be a certain way. That's who you should poo-poo on, not Roman. I always said he was this great, and now he's showing people. But some people won't want to admit it. Robbie Weiss, take it away.
I mean, Heyman, I'm sure, does a lot, right? To give him credit for this, though, is asinine. Because this is literally, I mean, like I said earlier, you could pull it up on YouTube, go look it up. Roman Reigns boss promo. If you're in the NoDQ chat, as soon as we're done with this, go pull that up and look at it because it's the same character and it's over a decade old. This is long before Heyman and him started working together. I know Heyman does have a long family history with them. He's known them for a long time, but the wealth of knowledge that's in that family is 100+ years in the business. They've been in wrestling before WWE, and they'll be there when it's gone. So you cannot give Paul Heyman all of the credit for that. Roman Reigns he's very good at wrestling. He grew up in the business. Obviously, if you watch that match on Sunday, he knows ring psychology. That guy knows what he's doing. Every word that came out of his mouth was believable. That comes from growing up in that environment. That comes from having uncles, fathers, cousins, brothers in the business that show you things, teach you things that only families do. So that may be the most asinine thing I've heard in a long time. And I watch wrestling and I watch politics. So that's saying a lot. But
hey, did Roman ever get fired from a creative position or demoted or had a company go out of business?
No.
No,
I just asking.
Yeah, Paul Heyman is not a well-liked guy in the wrestling industry either. So Paul Heyman, from every story that I've heard, he is a genius. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing, but at the same time, when he makes all of the decisions, it doesn't work out well. And giving him all of the credit almost seems like you're just trying to spite Roman Reigns at this point and everything him and his family have accomplished since the beginning of wrestling. So as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that.
Well, thank you, Robbie. Now, Big G, what do you think here, man? Rock potentially Roman. I'd love to see that. And I hope, I know it's hard to get for Rock these days. He hasn't done anything since he did the back-to-back against Cena.
Yeah.
But Roman's family, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like Robbie said, I don't think Heyman should get all the credit. Roman, the last time we saw Roman as a true heel was back in 2014 when he was still with the Shield, if I'm not mistaken, or when they first came out as the Shield back in 2012, I should say. And, then you had the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia where he won it, and they should have turned him heel then, I thought. But they didn't. They kept him babyface for the longest time. Finally, he comes back after the whole Performance Center era, comes to the Thunderdome, spears everybody left and right, wins the title back at Payback. This match this past Sunday, like we said, was tremendous. The Anonohe family has tremendous history, all the way back to, I think, High Chief Peter Maivia. You've had everybody in that family wrestle in WWE, or they are wrestling in an independent company right now. I know Rikishi, he's got his own school down there and stuff like that. And Alpha and Sika have
and The Rock became the biggest Hollywood movie star today. And Roman's already worked with him in a movie.
Exactly.
So the
thing is, like you mentioned before, when he was still Rocky Maivia, they tried him as a babyface. It worked for a little bit, and then the fans turned against him. They turned him heel. Like you said, made him a major babyface. Now he's doing movies. I think this past year he is the highest paid actor in Hollywood right now. And Roman Reigns can, if he wants to, he can follow in those same footsteps. I mean, they gave him more of an edge. This is what I wanted to see out of Roman for the longest time. It made me feel so bad, like when he was beating down on Jey Uso. I wanted to go down there and throw the towel in and say, "Whoa, stop!"
That's great. You might want to clip that part for our clip this week. Seriously, good one.
But yeah, I mean, I like how when Aaron mentioned earlier, with them miking up the ring a little bit and whatnot, and we don't have an audience there, so every time Roman was like, take your beating, take the paycheck, I was like, Jay, stay down, and Jay was like, I felt like I was watching Rocky, Right. I mean, that was the perfect clip from Rocky 4. And I was like, man, he's going to beat him to a bloody pulp. He's family, and he's doing this to a family member. Yeah, we know wrestling's fake and whatnot, but still, what's he going to do to somebody else that isn't a family member? He's going to beat the holy hell out of them.
Right. It was great.
I'm going to feel bad if he goes against The Fiend, because The Fiend is just going to get beaten down to a bloody pulp, But that
would be a good time to bring back Daniel Bryan. I know he's kind of been out with his, family baby.
Family, but yeah, I mean, I love this new Roman Reigns. Obviously girls are gonna love him even more now that he's shirtless. I I know eventually, they'll change up his theme song, but or not. I mean, that's just one part of the package. I mean, I like how Heyman does a little bit of talking, but then Roman takes the mic from him, says, I got this. I know how to talk. You're not gonna be. Anyway,
I said he would do that, and he did.
Yeah, he did. And hopefully they continue on with this tribal chief thing. He needs to come out every week with that lei around his neck and say, I'm the tribal chief, I'm the head of the table, and then boom, one day, whenever The Rock is done, I think he's filming Black Adam right now, or they're going to here soon. But once he's done doing that, they could potentially set up a WrestleMania match. If not, have just a segment with The Rock and Roman Reigns, and The Rock tries to do the rock bottom, Roman blocks it, hits Superman punch, spears The Rock, and bam, there you go.
I think it's going to happen, Big G. If not this year, next year. Aaron, think about if the pandemic was over, Los Angeles, that stadium, the tribal chief, head of the table. I mean, that's money match.
Absolutely.
Big money match. Take it away here.
Yeah, and of course, right now, there's questions about what the state of WWE is going to be like in March of 2021. Will fans be able to attend? See, I think it's unlikely we have 70,000 people in a stadium anywhere, especially California. Florida might be pretty laid back with the rules, but of course there could be another wave of COVID, and the vaccine might take longer than people are hoping for. We don't know. Will The Rock come back? I think The Rock will come back when there are fans. Adrian seems doubtful because of the insurance issue, which I know was a factor in Rock not wrestling a couple of years ago. Remember, there was talk about The Rock teaming up with Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie. They even planted the seeds of WrestleMania 31, but Rock's insurance was an issue. He got hurt in that second match against John Cena, and I think the movie studios do not want him to wrestle anytime close to when he's filming a movie. So thus, I think The Rock would have to free up his schedule quite a bit in order to do the match, and we just don't know what's going to happen in April. But yeah, The Rock has even teased the idea of there being a match. He responded to Roman's Instagram post, and he did an interview saying he would love to face The Rock. It definitely seems like that's where it's going as far as direction goes. Now, we do have a bunch of super chats here. This guy Experience with $2 says, The Rock versus Roman Reigns is pointless. We know who's winning. Again, we knew that Roman Reigns was going to beat Jey Uso. So it doesn't necessarily matter if the outcome is predictable. And who knows? The Rock could end up beating Roman Reigns. You never know.
Especially if Roman's big heel, which he probably would be.
And The Rock could commit to another match. It's certainly a possibility. And Inzumasa We Trust sent in a $5 super chat, says, finally, the main event. Now Virtue can tell me what I want to hear. Acknowledge me. Tell me I'm the NoDQ tribal chief. What do you think,
You're a mark.
Virtue? Ooh, well, there you go.
Absolute mark.
$5 to be called a mark. There you go. Might have been worth it to him. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Reigns versus Cena versus Lesnar versus Rock in a 4-way at WrestleMania 37.
Too much.
Yeah, that. And one-on-one
Don't
matches.
Don't go to WrestleMania 2000 again.
Yeah, one-on-one matches are more marketable. I do not see them doing a 4-way.
They could.
But
oh my
there are
God.
possibilities, Somebody brought up, what about Cena versus Roman Reigns? If The Rock is unavailable, or if you can only have a limited number of fans and The Rock wants to wait till we can have a full stadium, maybe John Cena will come in and face
Imagine Roman defending against Cena, going for his to beat the record.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
That would be awesome. So Michael Wayne brought up WrestleMania 38. That could be a possibility. If Hollywood gets postponed a year, I could see The Rock waiting out one more year. And we get John Cena in there instead.
Oh, by the way, WrestleMania Hollywood, think about it. The Rock. Hollywood. Like, that's just too perfect.
But, of course, the stars have to align for that to
No,
happen.
I know. COVID kind of threw
Yeah.
Hampering these possibilities.
I mean, I think if WWE cannot do a full stadium, they'll probably just postpone WrestleMania 1 year and do it in Florida where they can get 25,000 people and it's not a big cross-country trip to set everything up. So we'll see what happens with that. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, how many pay-per-views should AEW do and for how much each? I like the format they're doing now. If they grow as far as popularity goes, maybe they could add 1 or 2 more. But I think it would be a good idea to not do a monthly pay-per-view. Maybe do 6 max. But anybody else have an opinion on that one? Anybody here want to see more pay-per-views?
I just don't. $50 is still too much, even if they're not as frequent. WWE really set the bar with the $10 for the network.
Now, Virtue, going back to Roman here real quick. D. Ross 2 said, who do you see taking the title off of Roman Reigns? I think you could create a new star if you beat Roman.
I wrote about that.
Yeah.
And you should. And even if it wasn't create a new star, like Daniel Bryan coming back as a babyface and beating Roman could recreate the magic he had at WrestleMania 30. You could create a new star. Could it be Keith Lee? Opportunities are there, and they need to utilize this. But if they create a new star by putting them over Reigns through all of this, they have to stick with that new star. They can't let them fizzle out after a summer. You know what I mean? So that's
speaking of fizzling out. Does Otis still have the briefcase?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to end.
Yeah. Okay.
God.
I forgot what happened to him. I just had to ask. I forgot.
Yeah, he still has it.
He might as well just try to cash it in on Reigns and fail.
Yeah, Otis has the briefcase and Mandy Rose is in a tag team.
That would have been better. They should have had Mandy grab that from him or get that from him, and she could have cashed it in or something. I know
that's what I thought they were going to have her
push Mandy
into giving
they
it.
They need more main event women. I just don't want to see Sasha, Bayley, and Asuka, especially with no Becky, Charlotte, who might be back, and no Ronda.
And we're back.
They need to build another female star. I mean,
they had Rhea Ripley.
Well, they need to have faith in something. Mandy looks the part to get Vince McMahon's attention, so that's why I put her on my list.
Her finisher thing looked pretty sweet too, so she can work.
But that's it. I mean, that's all I got. No DQ Galaxy. I mean, it's Roman Reigns season, and we're going to talk about him again, and maybe one day soon Lesnar will be back in the mix. Aaron, anything else from the chat?
I think we're all good, so we're going to go into our plugs, and maybe we will go into overtime here, the No DQ review encore. If anybody wants to send in a super chat with another question, we'll keep going. But for now, we're going to...
We'll start with plugs then, and I'll start with Robbie Vice since he made his return.
I still don't want anyone to follow me. So follow Big G, follow Virtue, follow Aaron, follow a lot of good people out there. But comment on the YouTube chat. We'll talk in there. It'll be fun. I'll tell you guys if you're right or wrong, and I'll be the final verdict on that. So looking forward to some fun comments.
That's why we brought Robbie Vice aboard. Big G, what up?
No, NoDQ.com/big. Follow G takes us to my Twitter page. I had a brain fart there.
Do that one more time just in case.
NoDQ.com/big. G takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big 1988 on Instagram, Jeff Hiltel on Facebook, and that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Aaron Rift.
All right, Psycho Jet Black sent in $2 to give us an encore segment here on the No DQ review.
So much for my 50-minute show. I did add the Cody topic, but we didn't talk about it.
One of these days, somebody should just troll the shit out of us and send in a $2 super chat after every question we answer and just keep us on all night.
Oh my God!
Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, I wanna check out the debate just to see the train wreck that it'll likely be, but we'll see. This will probably be the last one.
Well, we are going head to head with it right now. I think.
I thought it starts at 9.
No, 7.
What?
Yeah.
You're lying.
No.
Did you answer the super chat?
I don't know. Oh yeah, Psycho Jet Black. Okay, Psycho Jet Black says, "What about Edge versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 37. I like it because it's different. I don't want to see Orton and Edge again. I'm all for Edge having different opponents, and Rollins I think is a great choice. Although I'm sure there will be the cynical fans out there that are like, oh, Rollins is gonna hurt him just like he hurt he heard all those other people like Sting and John Cena. So yeah,
It's a throwback storyline, though. Didn't Rollins threaten to break Edge's neck again if they didn't reinstate the Authority like 10 years ago or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Possibility.
Virtue, what do you think?
Why not? I mean, they could definitely play into Rollins hurting people and make that part of the storyline. That's the kind of drama, not the Mysterio family stuff, but that's the kind of stuff I like going into a match. So that I would be fine with that if it happened.
All right, Big G. Did you give an opinion? Rollins versus Edge?
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
I thought we were done.
All right,
I'm fine with that.
We do have a super chat from This Guy Experience.
Super chat.
He said, when is the next call-in video? Love you guys, though. I got to figure out how to do a call-in. Maybe I could set that up somehow. I got to look into it. Maybe I could have somebody call in on Skype through my phone, and we could have the audio come through on here. I got to look into it. We might be able to do it at some point where we could have people call in and join our chat during the show.
Have more trolls ask stupid questions.
And then somebody could come on and flash us or use the N-word. Like that's one reason why I stopped doing it, because I just got fed up with the trolls. Like it was becoming ridiculous how many people would just come on and they would trick me too. They would come on and act like a real fan and ask me a legitimate question, and then I said, anything you have to plug? He says, oh, not much. By the way, FN, and then I had to click off. So
people, trolls. I mean, that's why I'm the troll slayer. I mean, that's why I treat some people the way I do on Twitter. If you come at me with respect, you'll get it back. If you don't, good luck.
All right, so I think we're all caught up with everything, and
yes.
Make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com, of course, for the very latest. Thank you for your continued support, and like I said earlier, buy a mask. Stay safe. Wear a mask, and tell a friend. Click on that subscribe button.
If enough people buy those masks, we'll have a live WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you guys want fans back, you got to wear a mask. If you want fans back for WrestleMania, you got to set an example. Wear a NoDQ.com mask. Wear any mask. Just stay safe and try to follow the protocols best you can. And that's all I got.
Wash those hands.
Wash your hands. Use a bar of soap, as Andy Kaufman would say. Keep your hygiene on a positive note and all that good shit. That's all I got.
Thank you, NoDQ Galaxy. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_virtue if you dare. Facebook, NoDQ.com/virtue. Go over to NoDQ.com and check out the column wars under the opinions section. We got Mr. Tito. Go check his Paul Heyman column out. Let him know what you think in the comments or on Twitter. Check Virtue's Rage out, and there's plenty other columns over there, and Aaron posts other opinions as well. So for the elite panel of Robbie Vice, Big G, and Aaron Rift, I'm the head of the table. Aaron Rift is the tribal chief, and we got the Usos over there saying, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.